Okay, so picture this, a beautiful sunny meadow, a bunch of animal friends in a brand new box of colorful chalk. Sounds like the perfect day, right? But it pretty quickly leads to a problem that, well, we all face. How do we decide what to do when everyone wants something different? So let's dive into this little story and see what it can teach us about a really big idea.
So, yeah, what can a simple box of chalk actually teach us about something as huge as democracy? I know, it might seem like a bit of a stretch, but you'll see that sometimes the biggest ideas about working together fairly, they show up in the simplest places. Like, with a few friends who just want to create something cool.
So here's where they hit their first snag. Everybody was on the same page about the main goal. They all wanted to use that chalk on the big drawing rock. But the second they had to decide what to draw, everything just stopped. It's a classic problem, isn't it? We have a shared goal, but totally different ideas on how to get there. First up, you've got the rabbit. And no surprise here, he had a very clear vision. A giant, super bright orange carrot. It's a great idea, but it's only one idea.
Then you've got the turtle, who is picturing something completely different. A cool, peaceful blue pond. Also a fantastic idea, but, it's pretty hard to mix a pond with a carrot.
And to top it off, the bird wanted to fill that whole rock with a bright, warm yellow sun. So now you've got three friends, three great but clashing ideas, and one big rock. They're stuck. And that brings us to the most important question of all, right? How do you actually move forward? How can they possibly make a choice together in a way that feels fair to everyone and doesn't just end in a big argument? And just then, a solution comes along, thanks to the wise old owl. The suggestion is so simple, it's brilliant. Why don't you have a vote? And notice it's a question, not an order. The owl is introducing a process, a way out of their jam. Then the owl breaks down what a vote really is in the clearest way possible. It's not about winning or losing. It's just a tool to make sure every single friend's voice is heard. The whole point isn't to forget the other ideas, but to figure out what gets done first based on what most of the friends want to do. So the owl calls it the voting game. And look how simple the steps are. First, you just ask who wants each choice. Then, you count up the friends for each one. And finally, the choice with the most votes is the winner. No tricky rules, no secrets, just clean and totally fair. All right, so they put it into action. First question on the table, who wants to draw the sun? The bird puts a wing up, and so does the little bear who was watching nearby. Okay, that's 2 votes for the sun. Next up, the pond. Who wants to draw that cool blue pond? Well, just the turtle. And that's only 1 vote. But here's what's so important. Even though it was just 1 vote, the question was still asked, and that vote was still counted. That voice mattered. And finally, the carrot. Who wants that giant orange carrot? The rabbit, for sure. Plus, 2 little squirrels who had been watching the whole thing decided to chime in. And just like that, we've got 3 votes. And here you can see the final results all laid out. 3 votes for the carrot, 2 for the sun, and 1 for the pond. The numbers don't lie. The result is super clear, and because the whole process was fair, everyone understands exactly how they got here. So the carrot won, and honestly, this is the best part. There was no whining, no complaining, because the decision was made fairly. All the friends just picked up their chalk and started working together on that big orange carrot. The vote didn't pull them apart. It actually brought them together. But what happens next is just as crucial. The rabbit, the one who technically won, doesn't just do a victory lap. Instead, he immediately suggests another vote to decide between the other 2 choices. This shows he really gets it. It's not just about your idea winning, it's about respecting that everyone else has good ideas too. This simple story is not really just about animals drawing on a rock. It's like a perfect little model of democracy in action. So let's kind of pull back and break down the big lessons we can take from this little meadow election. So what did we really learn? Well, it boils down to 3 really simple, really powerful things. First, everyone gets a turn to share their idea. The carrot, the pond, the sun. Second, everyone gets to make a choice. And third, to keep it fair, you just count up the choices. It's a pretty solid formula for making decisions as a group. And when you get right down to it, the whole story comes back to this one powerful truth. Whenever a group needs to move forward, the fairest way to do it, and usually the best way, is to have a system where every single voice is heard and every voice is counted, even if it's not the one that gets picked this time around. And that kind of leaves us with one last thing to think about. The animals all came together to draw the carrot, which is awesome. But let's be honest, in the real world, it's not always that easy. So the big question is this. After a vote is done, after a decision is made, what's really the best way to bring everyone, the winners and the losers, back together so you can all move forward on that common goal? Definitely something worth thinking about.